You stand at the edge of Great Pulteney Street. You hadn't meant to stay in Bath this long. The trip was for business, a dispute over a small property once leased by your family. Nothing more. But Bath is full of ghosts that still know your name. If you're here, you probably still believe in love that lingers. You may not make it through this one without remembering someone. If this story moves you, I'd be honored if you'd like and subscribe. Let me know where you're listening from and whether it's day or night. Now, let's step into this moment together. 5 years ago, your parents brought you here for your mother's health. You lived together in the townhouse on Henrietta Street. Your father kept his ledgers there, and your mother tried to find air gentle enough for her lungs. You were 4 and 20, tired of duty, not yet broken by it. That's when you first saw her, Amelia Harrington, a girl with ink-stained gloves, buying lavender paper from the stationer's. She smiled once, absently, and you forgot the speech you were about to give the clerk. The months that followed blurred into music and stolen afternoons. Your mother improving, your father busier, you walking Amelia home from the pump room with a heart that didn't know how to slow down. She was clever, sensible, far below your station, or so your father reminded you each evening. But love does not read ledgers. Within the year, you and Amelia were secretly engaged, and then everything ended. You push the thought aside, yet it waits, always there, just past the next breath. Today the city looks almost kind. Shops glitter with ribbons and bonnets for the season. Horses stamp at the curb, impatient for their masters. You adjust your gloves, meaning to cross the street, and freeze. Across the colonnaded square, near the florist's awning, stands a woman in a straw bonnet trimmed with blue. Her profile is calm, self-possessed, the sunlight catching on familiar curls escaping her ribbon. A man stands beside her, tall, composed, his hand resting lightly at the small of her back. You know her before your mind allows the word, Amelia. For one impossible instant, the world tilts, the sound of hooves dulls, the air folds inward. 5 years vanish. She turns slightly, laughing at something the man says, a laugh that once spilled against your shoulder when she forgot the rules of decorum. That sound has lived inside you like a locked melody. Hearing it again hurts and heals at once. You should look away. You should remember that she is married, that you have business to attend to, that life has moved on, but your eyes refuse obedience. 5 years. In that time your father fell ill and died. You buried him at Ashbourne Hall and took up his endless accounts. You mended roofs, signed leases, paid debts, learnt what respect costs. You grew into the man he always demanded, steady, measured, dull. Your mother still lives, gentler now, still asking when you will marry. You answer with smiles you don't mean. All those years you believed you'd done the right thing, letting Amelia go for her own good. But the memory of her last letter never sat clean in your mind. Its words were polite, bloodless, not the voice that used to write to you about constellations and rain-soaked gardens. Something about it always felt borrowed. A carriage passes between you. When it moves on, she is looking directly at you. Her gaze finds you with quiet certainty, as if she had been expecting this collision all morning. Her lips part, a breath, a disbelief, and then she steps forward. You stand frozen on the opposite pavement, every heartbeat an accusation. She crosses only halfway, propriety holding her in place at the edge of the street. The man beside her turns toward a bookseller's stall, leaving her momentarily alone in the sunlight. The world narrows to the space between you. Edward? Her voice carries just enough to reach, soft, uncertain, still musical. You remove your hat, bow slightly. Mrs. Harrington. That's all. A greeting shaped by etiquette and ruin. It is the first time in 5 years your name and hers have shared the same air. The man, her husband no doubt, returns with a small parcel. He nods courteously. You incline your head. All the words you once planned to say die behind your teeth. They exchange brief thanks with the shopkeeper. She turns back to you, one heartbeat longer than she should, and smiles. Not the bright smile you remember. This one has been taught restraint. It still manages to break you. She lifts her skirts slightly and steps into the waiting carriage. As she does, a ribbon slips from her parcel. Blue, satin, the color of midsummer sky. It flutters to the cobblestones unnoticed. You stoop, pick it up, hold it for a second too long before tucking it inside your glove. The carriage door closes, wheels roll. The sound follows her away until only the smell of crushed lilac remains. You stay there, unmoving, while the city resumes around you. A boy shouts the hour. Pigeons scatter near the fountain. A dog barks at nothing. The world insists on continuing. So does memory. You remember the night before everything ended, her letter promising courage, the ring she hid inside her glove, the plan to meet at dawn by the bridge before leaving Bath forever. You remember the storm that never came, the sky too calm for tragedy. You remember waiting until the clock struck 9, and she never arrived. And later that same day, your father collapsed, the household packed within days, and a letter from her waited on your desk. Final, cold, convincing. You read it once and folded it until the creases cut your palm. It said she wished you well and would not see you again. You walk without aim through the square, ribbon still hidden in your glove. The cobblestones gleam where last night's rain lingered. You pass the lending library where she once lost control of her laughter. The echo feels close enough to reach. Inside your chest, regret shifts, not sharp anymore, but alive. You realize that seeing her has not reopened an old wound. It has revealed that it never truly healed. By the time you return to your lodging, the afternoon light has thinned. Your cane rests against the table. You pour a measure of brandy you don't intend to drink. The ribbon lies before you, a thin strip of blue, against dark wood. You stare at it until it blurs, and your mind drifts to Ashbourne. The hall quiet after dinner, your mother's frail voice asking when you will marry, the echo of your father's lessons about duty. You had obeyed them all, and still they left you here, haunted by a woman you were meant to forget. The church bell outside strikes 4. You unfasten the strap of your leather travel folio, the slim case you've carried for years, and take out her last letter, creased and fading at the folds. You've kept it not for sentiment, but for discipline, a reminder of what silence can cost and how quickly love can drown under the weight of pride. Your mother once asked why you still travel with it. You told her it reminds you what never to repeat. You read it again, slow, certain this time that the woman who wrote it was not the one you knew. Our paths were never meant to meet again. I shall remember you kindly, but I choose peace over pain. You close the letter, hand trembling. Lady Winslow once wrote, "The past never visits politely. It knocks with the hand you thought was buried." You understand her now. The past is knocking, hard. You rise, slip the letter back into the folio, and pocket the ribbon. Outside, Bath hums with evening traffic. Carriages, laughter, footsteps echoing against stone. Somewhere among them she is preparing for her sister's wedding, perhaps arranging flowers, perhaps telling herself the years have settled quietly behind her. You'd already heard it in the square, the florist's girl chattering about the Harringtons in town for a wedding at St. Swithin's. And here you are, standing in the same city once more, realizing the story you buried 5 years ago is not finished. Morning arrives pale and uncertain, the kind of Bath morning that smells of rain even when the sky stays dry. You haven't slept. The ribbon lies where you left it on the table, a thin strip of blue against dark wood, proof that yesterday happened, that she happened. You tell yourself the sight of her was chance, yet chance seldom stirs the past with such precision. The city outside stirs with carts and milkmen. Somewhere, a bell rings 8. You leave your lodging with a purpose you can't yet name, only the dull ache that says something isn't finished. You start at the solicitor's office near Queen Square, your father's old agent still operating under the same brass plaque. Inside, the air smells of ink, dust, and last century's secrets. Mr. Cartwright peers up from a ledger, startled. Lord Ashbourne? Good heavens. We'd not expected. Edward. You correct quietly. You've never liked the title. I need to review the estate accounts concerning the Bath leasehold on Henrietta Street from 5 years ago. He hesitates, then disappears into the back room. Drawers slide, ceiling wax cracks, paper shifts like something waking. He returns with a ledger bound in cracked calfskin. Here it is, though much of this would concern your late father's dealings. You nod. That's exactly what I wish to see. He opens to a page marked with a fading ribbon. There it is, Harrington and Company, Merchant Credit, 1810. A loan, sizable for a family of modest trade. Next to it, called in, April 2nd, 1811, per Lord Ashbourne's personal instruction. April 2nd, the day before the elopement. Your throat goes dry. You scan the page again. No ambiguity, no misunderstanding. Your father recalled the debt the night before she was to meet you. That recall would have destroyed them, driven her mother to panic, forced them to leave. A slow, sick understanding settles in your chest. He hadn't merely disapproved. He'd cornered her family until leaving Bath became the only way to survive. You thank Cartwright, voice steady only by habit. Outside, the street spins with noise, the rattle of carts, the smell of horses, but none of it touches you. You stand beneath the grey sky, fists tight around your gloves. He'd done it, and she had borne the blame. You return to your rooms, pull open your travel folio, lay out the letter again. You drop into the chair, the world narrowing around the paper. 5 years of regret rearrange themselves into fury. You ride out to Lansdowne Hill before noon, the only place quiet enough to think. Wind sweeps through the tall grass. The city spreads below like a painted toy. You dismount, pace the ridge, the letter in your hand. You remember your father's voice that morning when the servant said he'd collapsed. You remember the urgency. You remember her last letter waiting there on your desk. It all fits now, too perfectly. He must have intercepted hers, sent his own, recalled the loan. All in the same breath. He'd bought obedience with deceit. You laugh once, quiet, bitter. The sound startles even you. You'd thought you were noble letting her go. You'd only been managed. By late afternoon you ride back into town. The ache in your jaw has become a pulse. There's only one person left who can confirm this, your mother. You head to the small inn where your mother stays when she visits Bath for treatments. Her companion greets you with surprise. She'll be pleased, my lord, though she tires easily these days. You enter quietly. She sits by the window, shawl drawn tight, eyes still clear. Edward, she says softly, you look as though you've seen a ghost. Perhaps I have. You take her hand. It's lighter than memory. For a moment, you simply breathe together. Then, Mother, when we lived here 5 years ago, did Father ever open my correspondence? Her fingers twitch. He did more than open it, she whispers. He demanded to see every letter that entered the house, said he needed to protect you from folly. And mine to her. He read those too, sometimes dictated your replies when you hesitated. You were so earnest, Edward. You thought love could outtalk rank. A faint smile, sad. Your father had other methods. You stare out the window. The square below glows gold in late sun. Did he forge her hand? She doesn't answer immediately. The silence stretches until it hurts. Finally, softly, he had a clerk skilled in such things. For business, he said. I never asked more. I should have. Your throat burns. Then he ruined us both. Her eyes glisten. He thought he was saving you. You let out a long breath. stole my good, mother. He buried it. She covers your hand with hers. Then dig it up, my son, before it rots completely. You leave as the lamps are being lit. The air smells of rain again. Bath stone glows, honey dark. You walk without direction, letting her words settle. Dig it up. Maybe she's right. Maybe truth is the only decent inheritance left. By evening, the ache in your jaw has become a pulse. There's only one place left that might still hold your father's secrets. The old townhouse on Henrietta Street, shuttered, but still under your family's name. You find the caretaker, pay him enough to fetch the keys and step inside. You haven't crossed this threshold since the family left Bath for Ashbourne Hall after your father fell ill. You'd let the house stand empty and forgotten. Too many ghosts pressed into its walls. Too many things left unsaid. The air is stale, heavy with dust and neglect. In the study, your father's old desk still sits by the window. The ledgers remain stacked neatly, labelled in his hand, precise to the inch. You pull drawers, one after another, until the last one sticks. When it gives, a folder falls open across the floor. Inside, a small bundle of letters bound with twine, edges yellowed. Your breath catches. Harrington stationery. You untie the bundle, unfold the topmost sheet. The words blur for a moment before settling into focus. At dawn by the bridge, do not fear. Knowing you are near gives me strength. Your knees weaken. It's her handwriting, her warmth, her voice. The letter your father intercepted, never sent. She meant to come to you. She had written with courage, with trust, but she never made it. Her mother must have stopped her that morning when the lone recall struck. You were there, waiting by the bridge till the bells tolled 9. She was already being carried away toward Dorset, and neither of you ever knew. The truth hits like a blow. She kept her word. Your father broke it, and you obeyed the lie. Your vision blurs for a moment, not from tears, but from the sheer weight of 5 wasted years rearranging themselves into truth. You return to your lodging, lay the real letter beside the forged letter, 2 pieces of the same story, the real and the false. The contrast is unbearable. The true words still carry warmth, the living pulse of her courage. The false ones are perfect, bloodless. 1 heart, 1 forgery. You can almost see your father's shadow leaning over the desk, sealing wax cooling, duty burning brighter than mercy. You pour a brandy. This time you drink it. The burn steadies you. You think of Amelia again, her face that morning, her surprise, the quiet tremor in her voice when she said your name. She doesn't know any of this. For 5 years she's believed you chose duty over her, that you never came because you didn't want to. The injustice of it ignites something fierce, not desire, resolve. You will tell her the truth, if only to free her from it. You sit at the desk, quill in hand, but the words refuse to form. What can you write that won't unravel her peace? She has a husband, a life, yet to leave the lie untouched feels worse than cruelty. It feels like cowardice. You light a candle, stare at the flame until the wax pools. Maybe words aren't enough. Maybe she needs to hear it from you. You fold the real letter carefully, tuck it inside your folio with the forged letter and the ribbon. Together, they tell the real story. You intend to deliver it. You step out into the night air. The city hums low, music spilling from parlours, carriage wheels on wet cobbles. As you pass the colonnade, 2 coachmen talk near a lamp-post. One mentions the Harrington party up at the Royal Crescent, fine guests, fine tipping. The words stop you mid-step, so that's where she's staying. You glance toward the hill where the grand houses curve against the sky, windows glowing like a string of quiet lanterns. Somewhere up there. She is unaware that the truth she once prayed for walks the streets below. You exhale slowly. Tomorrow, you'll face her, not as a man asking for anything, but as one returning what was stolen. Lady Winslow once wrote, "Confession is not a plea for forgiveness. It is the only honest gift the heart can still give. You whisper it into the cool night. It fits. You turn back toward your lodging, every step deliberate. The rain begins to fall, soft, steady, cleansing. It soaks the street, the letters in your pocket, the weight of old guilt. And for the first time in 5 years, you feel clean enough to begin again. The next day, rain hangs low over Bath. Fine at first, then thicker. You keep your hat brim down, folio under your arm, steps steady. You've already made your choice. The truth belongs with her now, not on your desk, not in your head, with her. You don't stand and stare. You keep moving. Buy lilies for your mother. Speak to the florist about a simple ribbon. Thank her. Step back under the long terrace beside the bookseller. The drizzle hardens into a curtain. People squeeze in under the stone. Damp coats, dripping parasols, the soft hush that rain brings to a city. That's when you see her. Amelia, blue ribbon dark with rain, calm steps. Her maid turns inside the florist. Voices rise over flower lists and prices, a long fussy talk. Good. Time. A gust knocks a stack of pamphlets off the bookseller's table. They skid across wet stone. You step in first, gather pages. She bends from the other side, doing the same. In that small, ordinary moment, you set a brown paper parcel into the pile she holds. An octavo book wrapped neat, tied with string. Your seal faint on the knot. No touch, no flourish, just help in a storm. Her gaze lands on the parcel, then flicks away, proper, calm. She breathes once. You keep your eyes on the pamphlets. For a heartbeat, neither of you speaks. Rain fills the silence. A soft drum on stone. You keep your voice low, even. I waited at the bridge until the 9th bell. Her eyes lift, clear through the rain. Her answer is small, but it lands. I was on the road to Dorset, before dawn. That is your single exchange. 2 lines, one truth, split in half. From the florist doorway, a bell jingles. Someone comes, someone goes. A lady at the far end peers your way. You slide a pace aside, ask the bookseller about maps, dull, harmless, and your shoulder simply blocks her view. Amelia gives the slightest nod. She settles her shawl. When the maid finally returns, cheeks pink, triumph in her voice about roses and ribbon counts, she notices the parcel and smiles. "A book for the rain, madam," Amelia answers with a small nod, the kind that belongs to any afternoon. They walk away under one umbrella, up towards the crescent. You stay until their shapes thin and fade into the soft grey. Only then do you let the breath go. An hour later, the rain turns to silver threads. Hooves tap slowly along the stones. You walk the quieter streets, not to chase, not to watch, to steady yourself. You've put the truth in her hands. Now the hours can be honest again. Under the abbey arch you stop. Water gathers on the carved leaves and then drops, then gathers, then drops. Your mind does the same, collects the past, lets it fall, collects, lets go. You roll the years back, plainly now, no poetry to hide the ache. 5 years ago, you were in Bath with your parents. Your mother breathed easier here. Your father kept his ledgers on Henrietta Street. Quill quick, numbers clean. You were 4 and 20, quick to laugh, proud, stubborn. Certain love could outstare rank if you stood still long enough. You met Amelia at the stationer, ink on her glove, a question about paper weight, that absent-minded smile that cut clean through your day. After that, you measured time by her. First by luck, a pump room morning, a library return, a walk past the florist you just happened to take. Then by plan, you made small hours together, honest ones. Your father called her unsuitable. You learned that word had very little to do with character. You proposed, not in a church, not before a crowd, just you and her in a quiet street, fingers linked, voices steady. She said yes. You made a plan to elope at dawn, meet by the bridge, hire a carriage, see a parson, eat breakfast somewhere no one knew you yet. then return to Bath as a fact, not a question, not to cause scandal, to build a life. Her letter came the day before, afraid and brave. Strong because you are near. You never held that letter. Your father did. You see him now as he was then, mouth set, never yielding, a clerk beside him who could copy any hand in Somerset. Your father read your heart like a ledger, risk on one page, loss on the other, and he moved fast. That night he recalled the Harrington loan. He sent a man to Amelia's mother with a message no mother can refuse. Leave Bath at once, and the debt is forgiven. Delay, and the ground tilts under your door. At dawn you were at the bridge. Cold air, pocket watch like ice in your palm. 1 bell, 2, 3. By the 9th, your hope was thin as breath. You went straight to her house, the maid at the door, the hall empty, dust where trunks had been. They left for Dorset at first light, the maid said, cheeks drained, voice flat from orders. You mounted. You rode west. A messenger found you before the turnpike. Your father had collapsed. Come at once. Duty pulled tight through your chest like wire. You turned back. That evening, a letter sat on your desk, her handwriting, not her heart. It is better this way. You folded it until it marked your palm. You told yourself it was truth. Then came nights of coughing behind closed doors. Stewards with 3 problems before breakfast, roofs to mend, rents to watch. You swore you would go to Dorset when the fever eased. The fever didn't ease. Winter washed out a bridge. Weeks bled into months. Then news. She was engaged to a Dorset widower. Decent, steady. Everyone called it sensible. You believed them because the other belief would have broken you then. Lady Winslow once wrote, "Some storms don't break a heart, they rinse it clean." You didn't believe that line when you first read it. Today, it lands. Later that afternoon, the rain loosens. You walk up towards the crescent, not to look for a window, not to count silhouettes, simply to accept what has finally been put right. Carriages arrive, footmen carry crates, a violin scrapes and finds its note in the busy hum of a wedding eve household. Your hands are empty. Good. The letters are with her, where they belong. You picture it plainly, a small room, a door latched, the maid sent away, brown string untied, your card set aside. First, the true letter, her voice, warm and alive. Then, the false, perfect ink, dead words, not outrage, not for long, just a long breath out, the pain of 5 years standing up and leaving her body. You wish you could carry that moment for her, but some work must be done by the one who suffered it. She has always been brave. You step under a plane tree. Rain dots fall from the leaves now and then, soft taps like light applause. A baker's boy runs past with covered trays, grinning, careless. 2 coachmen argue cheerfully about the fastest way to St. Swithin's. Life refuses to whisper. You let it be loud. A thought you've dodged for years sits down beside you, simple, firm. Perhaps this love was meant to build you, not to keep you. Another settles after it. If she is at peace, you can be content. It hurts. Then it doesn't. You take both thoughts with you. What stands between you now isn't a problem to fix. It's a truth to honor. She has a husband, a name, a sister to stand beside tomorrow. You have a mother to care for, tenants who need kinder winters, a hall that can be run with mercy instead of fear. The hour bell carries across the roofs. You don't look at the tower. Your body counts anyway. An old habit that will not quit. Your eyes sting a little, not from the old pain, but from the quiet that comes after it. You turn away from the crescent and take the long way to your lodging, past the green where children jump in what's left of the puddles, past a vendor insisting strawberries are in season because hope sells better than truth. The world is shameless about joy. You forgive it. By evening, you lift the sash and let cool air in. The room smells of rain and old paper. Your folio is thin now, only ordinary papers inside. Good. The truth is out of your hands. You stand at the window and breathe with the city. Wheels far off, a laugh under the arch, a violin that finally holds a clean note. A simple idea lands and stays. You can leave Bath tomorrow with your head unbowed, not triumphant, not ruined, just right. But you also know this story needs one more page in daylight, not to ask for anything, not to press, only to thank her for reading what should have been hers all along and to return something small, properly. After that, the night will do the rest. You close the window softly. The rain lets go in one last run and stops. You sit, hands on your knees, breathing even. Peace, at last, has a shape you can hold. Tomorrow, the fete, the garden, the ribbon, the full moon, and then the kind of ending that honors what was true and keeps it clean. 2 days later, Bath wakes bright and golden after a stretch of rain. The air smells fresh, clean, like the world has decided to forgive itself. You walk slowly toward the green where the spring fete is already beginning. Ribbons, laughter, stalls with sugared almonds and lemonade. You didn't come to see her, you tell yourself. You came because staying away would have felt like running. Music drifts from a small band near the maypole. Children chase ribbons across the grass. Ladies gather flowers. The whole scene light and harmless. You almost believe the world has no ghosts left in it, until you see her. Amelia stands at the edge of the crowd. Her bonnet is trimmed in soft cream today. She speaks gently with her sister, the bride, no doubt. There's a softness in Amelia's face now, peace where tension lived before. The book is nowhere in sight. Of course not. She's too careful to risk that. But the calm around her tells you everything. She read what you gave her. She knows the truth. You think of leaving before she notices, but it's already too late. Her gaze finds you across the green. The noise of the fete fades into a distant hum. She excuses herself and walks toward you. Steady, graceful steps through the grass. She stops a few paces away. You bow. Mrs. Harrington. Lord Ashbourne. Her voice carries just enough to reach you over the music. For a moment neither of you moves. Then, softly, I read what you gave me. Your throat tightens. Then you know. I do. She looks down briefly, remembering the letters, the handwriting, those 5 stolen years. All this time, I thought you never came. And I thought you chose someone else, you say quietly. Both of us were punished for lies we didn't write. Her eyes glisten, not with tears, but with understanding. My mother believed she was protecting me, she says gently. And your father, he must have believed the same. You nod. Perhaps, but right and kind are not the same thing. A breeze lifts stray ribbons into the air. Children laugh and run after them. The band stumbles over a note, then finds its rhythm again. Life continues, bright and careless. She breathes in slowly. When I opened the real letter, I thought I'd forgotten how to cry. A small exhale. I hadn't. You don't speak. You simply listen, because she deserves to be heard. I'm glad I know the truth, she continues. It means I can remember you kindly, without wondering. You manage a small smile, honest this time. Then my work is done. Her eyes soften. Do you still believe what we once said, about love finding its way back? You pause, not unsure, but careful. I think love never truly leaves, you say at last. It just changes where it lives. She holds your gaze for a heartbeat, and you both understand the same truth at the same time. Someone calls her name from near the maypole, her sister, waving. Amelia glances over, then back at you. They'll be looking for me. Of course, you say, stepping aside. But before she passes, she unties a small length of blue ribbon from her wrist. The same shade she wore the day you saw her at the florist. She checks the crowd, quick, subtle, then presses it into your hand. For closure, she whispers. You slip it inside your coat at once, where it rests against your heartbeat. Thank you, you say quietly. She nods, a soft, steady smile that carries both farewell and peace. Goodbye, Edward. Goodbye, Amelia. She returns to the crowd, back to music, back to sunlight, back to the life that belongs to her. One last flash of ribbon in her hair, one last echo of what once was, and then she's gone. That night, the moon is full, bright enough to silver the rooftops of Bath. You sit alone in the quiet courtyard behind your lodging, the night air cool, honest, still. Your folio rests beside you. You take the ribbon from your coat pocket, unwind it slowly, and tie it around the leather binding with care, as if sealing a chapter closed. You lean back against the bench, look up at the sky, watch the clouds drift like slow ships across the moon, and something in your chest eases. You think of the girl you loved, the woman she has become, and the man you've grown into because of all of it. And for the first time in years, your heart doesn't ache, it hums. You realize what you feel isn't loss, it's gratitude, deep, quiet, unshakable. Some loves never burn out, they simply change shape. They settle into the way you breathe, the way you walk, the way you choose kindness when no one is watching. You will carry this love, not as regret, but as proof your heart once knew something true. You sit there a long time under the moon, the ribbon catching the light each time the wind shifts. You don't rise until dawn touches the sky, and when you finally stand, you know one simple truth. Love like this doesn't fade. It simply learns to stay quiet.